Hey everybody, I am doing a lesson today and we're going to learn a little bit about physics and we're also going to learn about how to create a blueprint for a collectible item that you can count, set up a counter for it. So let's go ahead and get started. And first of all, what I'd like to do is we're going to use some physics constraints, and over here, if you click on all classes right there, it gives you like all the different actors that you can place in your level. And so just be aware that that's where we're going to be working today. But before that, let's just go ahead and get some basic actors. So I'm going to go into over here, quickly add to the project, the little green plus sign there. Let's go into shapes. I want to start by adding a cube. And then let's also go back into the quick add and let's also add a sphere. And then let's go back one more time and let's also add a cone. How about that? So we've got a cube, a sphere, and then a cone. So let's move that. Let's move the cube up a little bit. We'll probably reposition it here shortly. But anyway, move the cube up a little bit, and then move the sphere up. And let's zoom in on that a little bit. I want to make sure all these are like sitting right on top of each other. So I'm going to go into my maximize or restore this viewport, upper right corner. Go into my top viewport and just kind of see, and there they all are. So they're all sitting right on top of each other. So there's the cone, there's the cube, and there's the sphere. All right, so now I'm going to go back to my other viewport here, my perspective viewport. And let's reduce the size of that sphere by like 50%. So make sure you lock your scale and then just type in 0.5 there just to get the size down a little bit. And I'm going to pull it right up to the top of the cube there. And if there's a little bit of space, there's kind of a gap there. I can come up here to my grid snap, and I'm just going to set that to like 5. And then boom, that gets it right up there. Let's add to the sphere. Let's come over here to the details, scroll down a little bit, and in the physics rollout, we're going to check simulate physics. Simulate physics. And then let's copy it. So I'm going to hold my Alt key and I'm going to duplicate it, just pull it down a little bit. And then let's do that one more time. So I've got 3 of these spheres all touching each other and they look good. And then one last thing here is let's grab the cone, make sure to simulate physics with the cone. Do not simulate physics on the cube. That's going to be our stationary thing that's holding everything together. And then just bring the cube, bring the cone up. And you know what? The cone's a little bit large too for what we want. So let's go back. Make sure you lock your scale on the cone, and let's make that about 50%, 0.5, and pull it right up there to the bottom of the sphere there. So, all right, that looks pretty good, and I kind of like it. And to add one more thing to it, let's put a light underneath the cone here. So I'm going to go back to my quick add, and let's go to lights, and let's put a spotlight on that. So I've created a spotlight, and again, I'm going into my top view to just make sure that it's, which it is not, it's way over there. So let's put it there, I'm going to press F to focus in that top viewport, zoom in a little bit more, and get it right centered there. Maybe even a little bit more. There we go. So now I can see if it's centered right there. Now it's centered, so that looks good. All right, and go back into my perspective viewport. So the light is now centered there, but let's bring the light down. Just bring it down and get it to where it's sitting underneath, excuse me, underneath the cone there. And just so we can see the light a little bit better, let's change the light color to something you can tell. Like I can tell it's red, so I'll just make it red. And then let's crank up the intensity a little bit to make it a little bit easier to see. And then let's also, the outer cone angle, let's make it a little more narrow. And so a little bit more narrow right down there. And I kind of like that. And so that'll enable us to uh, see how the cone wobbles around there. Because what we're going to do here is we're enabling a physics constraint chain, and we're going to constrain the cone to the first sphere, the sphere to the next sphere, the sphere to the next sphere, and then the sphere to the cube. And we're going to constrain these together, but we want them all to kind of like wobble around when they're interacted with. So when you hit them or throw something at them or something knocks into them, then we want this to be able to move around, okay? Like physics, just like as if it was hanging from this cube up here is what we're going to be doing. Now the spotlight, all I have to do for that is I just have to parent it to the cone. So I'm just going to click on the spotlight here in my details and drag it and drop it on the cone. And now you can see the spotlight is parented to the cone. Now I don't have to do that with the cone and the spheres because we're going to use some physics constraints for that. So make sure you're in selection mode. And then in the place actors, if you will go all the way over to the one that says all classes, because my screen's a little smaller, it's underneath all the other options there, but sometimes it'll be on the far right there. I guess if I pull that out, there it is. Now it's on the far right. Or if I don't need that much, if I need more viewport space, it just depends. So anyway, all classes, and then scroll down, they're alphabetical order. So go down to the P's for physics, and we're going to use this thing called a physics constraint actor. So go ahead and click and drag the physics constraint actor and try to get it like right underneath there and pull it all the way up to where it's right in the center between the cube and the first sphere right there. In fact, I'm going to go to my other viewports again just to kind of verify, first of all, that it's centered, which it looks like it is in my top viewport there, but then in the other, oh, and I got it good there. So that's pretty cool. All right, and then you know what? I need to make one of these. I'm in my right viewport. Since it is centered and it's right there, let's go ahead and duplicate this because I need one in between each one of these objects. So I'm going to hold my Alt key and just drag it down to the next one. Let up on Alt, hit Alt again, drag down to the next one, and then one more time. Hold Alt and drag down in between the sphere and the cone. All right, next thing we're going to do, let's go back and select that top physics constraint actor right there. And then over in our details, you can see that there are constraint actor inputs right there. It currently says none. It's not constraining any actor, so let's add some there. You can do it. Maybe it's easier for you to see in the in this viewport or in the perspective viewport, but I'm just going to use my eyedropper. There's several ways you can do this to add. I want to add the top item, which is the cube, into constraint actor 1. So I'm going to use this eyedropper. Pick actor from scene, click it, hover over the wireframe of the cube, click, and then go to constraint actor 2, grab that eyedropper, and then select the one below the constraint actor. Now you know the top one is has a red outline around it, and the one below it, the bottom one, has the blue outline around it. That's how you distinguish your top and your bottom there from it. And so that looks good. Let's go on to the next constraint actor and do the same thing again. Grab the eyedropper and just click the top sphere, grab the other eyedropper and click the bottom sphere, and we're good there. Do it again. Let's grab the next constraint actor and grab the top eyedropper, grab the constraint actor 2 bottom eyedropper, click that one. We're looking good. And then this last one, just so you can see, you can do it in any viewport. I'm going to go back to my perspective viewport and look down. There it is. And then once again, my constraint actor, I'll just use the eyedropper and grab that bottom sphere and grab the other eyedropper and click on the cone. And they're all lined up. Everything looks really good. I really don't have to do anything else on here for right now. One thing to note is that the constraint actors themselves, the linear limits, make sure they're all locked. By default, they are locked. But if you're ever like playing around with them and just messing around and everything to see what you can do with these, if you don't lock them, then the objects you're constraining will just go all over the place. And so anyway, lock them, and that's really all you have to do. They're visible here in the screen, but they're going to be hidden in the game, as you can see there. And then there is they'll swing the motion. They'll allow swinging and twisting. You can see it's not limited. It's not locked. So the motion they're going to do, these constraint actors, is they're just going to allow swinging and twisting around, just like a normal thing. And the other thing is that, well, it's not here on these, but on each of the other pieces, we make sure that gravity. So like I'm going to select the cone, and it should say enable gravity by default. There it is. When we turn on simulate physics, enable gravity is already checked. We're good with all this. Let's go ahead and have some fun with it. I'm just going to hit play because we kind of set it up, and let's see if it all works right. So I'm going to hit play. There's my character, and I'm just going to run into it. Boom. And then back up so you can see it. And so you can see the light moving all around on it, and I'm just kind of interacting with it. So I can play, I can jump up into it, move it all around or whatever. But that's how to use physics constraints. And hopefully you can see that this is going to be a very useful type of physics asset to be able to use. I could probably come up with a half dozen things right now where I could use this and kind of have some fun with it. And you're going to have to use these to put in your game as well. So just be aware. So physics assets, there we are. I'm going to escape out of here. Let's learn another physics thing here that's kind of fun to use. We're going to make a cone. So let's go back up to the quick add and go back to shapes and then cone. And I'll put a cone there in my scene. Let's pull it up just a little bit off the ground right there. And then back over into the place actors over here, all classes again. We're looking at physics stuff. There's this thing called a physics thruster. And I'm going to grab a physics thruster and I'm going to throw it under there. And once again, I'm going to my top viewport to make sure that if I just press the F key, that will focus it. And I'm just going to pull it over here so it's like directly under my cone. And let's see, and I've got it centered. Okay. Now, what you're looking at, you can see here, there's this, we see the axis, but then it's got this orange arrow, this large orange arrow right there. The large orange arrow determines what direction the thrust is being applied. And I want this kind of to go up like a spaceship, okay? So looking here in my right view, it's pointed sideways, and I don't want that. If I want it to go up, then the thrust should be pointing down. So let's just tap our space bar, and let's rotate it so that the thrust is pushing downward, which will make our cone go upward. So I'm going to maximize my window again right there. And a couple things. Let's go ahead and tap in my space bar to get back to the move tool. I'm going to put this right underneath my cone. Don't embed it in the cone. I think that will, it's been a while since I've done that. I think that will hinder the thrust. And so you can just put it, notice I've got it right there. I'm going to put it like one click underneath. I'm still on the 5 grid snap, so it's like 5 units under it, which is perfectly fine. But in order to get the cone to go up, we're going to have to parent these together. So there's my physics thruster. There's cone 2. So once again, I'll take physics thruster. I'm going to click on it and drag and drop it on top of cone 2. There it is. So now they're attached. And the thruster is going to push up the cone, and the thruster will stay with the cone because as it pushes the cone up, the cone is the parent, and it's dragging the child thruster along with it. All right, now we've got one more thing to do here, is that the thrust that it gives is pretty weak to start off. Like if you just have a thrust strength of 100, that's not going to lift this cone up. In fact, let's look at it. Do that. I'm surprised. Oh, wait, we didn't. There's one more thing we got to do. Totally forgot about it. So with the thruster, we have to wake it up. So let's scroll down a little bit here. And yes, it's visible in the level. If I scroll down, we have to auto activate it. So we want the thruster to start as soon as the game starts. Okay, now the default thrust is 100. I don't even think that's enough to hold up this cone. So when I hit play, it's probably just gonna start to drop. It's not doing well. Maybe it is barely holding it up there. So anyway, all right. We want it to go up. Ooh, we want it to go up. So let's crank it up. I just know by experience in doing this that if we just take it like 70,000 thrust is enough to make this thing start moving up and then a little bit. So let's hit. I'm gonna hit the play button. We're watching it, and oh, what I do? Let's see. I think I know what I did. Who can tell me what did I miss? It's on the cone. What did I miss on the cone? Look at that. It's not movable. It's static. It's not movable because I did not check simulate physics. So there we go. Now that I've selected on the cone, simulate physics, you can see that it's now movable. And let's try it again. There we go. And up, up, and away. All right, there it goes. So it's taking that, and you can do anything with that, you know. That's pretty cool. So anyway, I made that. And if you're thinking, well, what good does that do? As soon as I mean, you can set it up to activate after you touch it or something like that. Set up a blueprint for it. You know, what's another thing I could do with that? Let me set something up here real quick. So if I just go to another shape, I'm gonna select a cylinder. Come over here, Mr. Cylinder. And you know what? I'm just gonna scale some things here. I'm gonna make that a little larger. And maybe oops, scale it down. I want it to be skinnier. There we go, like that. And maybe just a touch taller. There we go. Okay. So there's this, but then let's get a, this will be fun. Let's get a cube going here. So let's do a quick add shapes and put a cube together. I'm just trying to think up fun things to do because, you know, if I want people to play my video game, I got to have fun things to do in it. So, or fun things to view, to do and to view and whatever. So anyway, let's scale this out. Shrink it, whoops, too much like that. Let's stretch it like that. And let's pull it in like that. Yeah, that's probably good. All right. And yeah, I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing just yet because I'll surprise you. All right, let's see. Some of you might be able to figure it out, but let's see. All right, so I got that. I'm going to pull this up a little bit. Let's pull it over. Have some fun with it. I'm going to take my thruster and I'm going to put my thruster on this thing right here. Okay. So let's grab this and pull it over, pull it up, and rotate it 90 degrees. And let's see, move it. But let's do some things here. Now we want the pipe that's going to stay stationary. That should be static. But I want this thing. I want this arm right here. I want the arm to move, so it should be movable. And also let's take the cone here and let's parent the cone to this cube right there. So my cone 2 is right there. So I'm going to go up there, grab it, and I'm going to drop it on cube 2. So now I've got the thruster parented to cone 2, which is parented to cube 2. All right. But I've got to do some other things to this. And so let's make this go around and around and around. Okay, let's have it spin around. So how do we do that? More space. So, all right, I'm gonna. Everything looks good there, and I already see one problem I'm gonna have, but that's okay. I'll fix it in a minute. Simulate physics. So I want it to spin around based on the thruster that's right there. I don't even actually need the cone. I just already had it set up, so I thought I would do it. Thought I'd use it. And let's go down until we see. Uh, looking for some constraints. Here we go, constraints right there. Now these are not physics constraints. I did not put a physics constraint on here, although you know what? It probably would work. I could probably do that. But let's see if we can do it without constraints. Now I want this thing to rotate around, and you can already see I want it to rotate around this blue axis, which is the z-axis right there. So I don't want to lock the rotation of z, but I do want to lock the other two axes. And what about the position of z? I want to lock. Let's see. I think I just want to lock all three of those. I don't want it to move up and down and all around. I just want it to rotate around the z-axis right there. So again, I have this little thing selected, and it's going to rotate. But what's it going to rotate around? What's it going to rotate around? The pivot, right? Where's my pivot on this thing? Oh, crap. It's way over. It's way over there. So, you know what? Just to make things easier, how about if I move the pivot? I'm not moving the pivot. I'm just moving my box. Let's go to my top viewport and see if I got it right. Let's just move it. There it is. So now I've got it set right on top of the post right there. I guess we're good. And it'll move around that. So it should just spin around. I don't know. Let's see what it does. I think I got everything set up, and I just want it to rotate around that z-axis. Let's hit play. Oh, it blew off. What did I do wrong? You know what? Let's give it its own thruster. How about that? So let's put the let's take the cone 2 off of cube 2. So I'm just gonna grab it and redrop it on there, and that takes it out of it. So cube 2 no longer has is parented to cone 2. So I'm gonna take my cone and put it back here. Let's rotate that back down. So we'll have two physics thruster things going on. Let's see, move that back just a little bit so we can. So I'm gonna have a whole bunch of physics things going on my level right here. All right. So you know what? I'm going to attach a physics thruster just right to the outside thing here. So let's go physics thruster, drag and drop it right there. Oh, it's going the other way. That's fine. Let's pull it out a little bit. And I've got to parent it. It's physics thruster 2. I have to parent it to cube 2. So physics thruster 2, drag and drop onto cube 2. Check to make sure they're parented. And then remember down in details, we've got to put some push on this thruster. It can't just sit at 100. There it is. Let's take this one about, I don't know, 50,000 and see if that works. I think I'm good with that. Let's hit play and watch our stuff. So the thing went up and my thing is moving around. That's pretty cool. So, ooh, and it keeps going faster and faster and faster. Nice. Did you see at the beginning that it was struggling with the direction it was going? it was struggling with the direction it was going. Watch it again. See, it's kind of like, what direction do you want me to go? And the reason that it's struggling is because it's pushing the one direction, but because it's going around in a circle, once it got going, it started spinning, but it's always thrusting the same direction. So it's thrusting that direction so that if this moves, let me rotate it. It's thrusting. So anyway, well, maybe that's not the reason, but yeah, it's thrusting. It should be pushing it around in a circle. So, all right, that looks good. So, how could I make this useful in a game other than just a spinning thing? All right, I'm gonna bring it over here. Let's grab it. Let's move it. You know, it would be so much better if they would put this little axis facing me. So whenever I need to select two things like that, the X and Y axis. Ooh, why didn't that come with it? I thought they were parented. That it would be easier to select them. So anyway, that is cylinder, and this is cube 2. So let's take cube 2 and attach it to cylinder. There we go. And now I can move cylinder around on two axes. Let's put it over here, right? Let's let it whack that thing. And I don't want it to whack it up high. Let's get it to whack it down low. Maybe right there. All right. Let's see what this does to it. Hit play. Let's see. Oh, it hit it. It's struggling. Come on. Come on. There we go. Oh, look at that. There's collision involved. So it's not giving it a chance to build up any real momentum right there. That's kind of interesting. It's kind of a fun thing to do. So anyway, you know, I'm having these things interact with each other. Ooh, there it starts getting some momentum up, but it could just be a fun movement momentum thing going on there. So a fun thing to put into your game. And then I wonder, you know, I could probably put another thruster on the other side here and get this thing really moving in one direction so that it wouldn't always be hesitating and all of that. So I could probably do that. Anyway, why don't you do that and test it and see how that works? All right. So those are some physics things, fun with physics, fun with some physics things that you can do. There's a few other physics things, like a physics volume that you can do, but we'll do that later with volumes, not on this video. All right, one more thing that I wanted to show you all to put into your games is that we talked about having a collectible item, and and so I want to have a collectible. And first of all, let's go ahead and what do we want to collect? I mean, for me, I'm just going to collect like a simple shape here, but I'm not going to do it here. So I'm going to create a blueprint for it. So I'll put it up here, and I'll just do it in the content folder right there. So let's right click and let's create a blueprint class. And I just want to do an actor, and I will call it my. I told y'all not to use coins, so I don't want to use a coin. What should I use? I'm going to collect a box. So let's call it BP underscore box underscore collect. Okay, so I'm going to click boxes. All right, that looks good. All right, a couple things we have to do now. So I'm going to I'm going to double click my. Hold on, I'm taking a look here. Okay. I'm going to double click my box collect. Whoops, and it came in on the other monitor. Hold on, when it comes up, I'll bring it over. So, and I'm going to throw this right up there so we can take a look at it. So this will be my BP box collect, and I didn't put a box in it there, so I'm going to put a box in it here. The box will be a component that I'm going to add. So I'm just going to click and say, there it is, there's a cube. Let's click and add a cube. And that's fine. I'll just, let's call it box C for box collectible. So it'll be my box static mesh component right there. And all right, I guess I'm good with that. It's kind of large, so I'm going to go over here to scale it down to maybe like a 0.2. Have a smaller collectible, so I can have them all around the level and just kind of jump all over them and collect them. So let's see. All right, so now I've got that set up. I am going to, eventually we'll come back and put the event graph together. Let's just go ahead, compile and save. We'll come back to this. What we need to do now is work into our character, in our third person character. We got to make some changes in there. So let's go into our third person folder, go into our blueprints folder, and then this BP third person character, we got to do something. We got to make some changes in there. So double click it to open it. And wow, that's small. Let's see. There we go. All right, so we have things in here. You can see there's 4 different things: the jump input, the movement input, camera input, the add input mapping. We're going to add something else here. So let me hold on a second. Let me check this. All right, this looks good. So let's go ahead. We're going to add some variables here down here. So let's click on the plus sign down here by variables. And the first variable we need is going to be a something called coins added. Coins added. Let's do that. Coins added. All right. And you can see it's a Boolean. We don't want it to be a Boolean. And so let's click on the button here, and we're going to make it an integer because we're not going to be counting. Oh, it's not coins, it's boxes. So let's make it boxes added. Boxes added. There we go. All right, boxes added. It's an integer because I can't really add half a box or a third of a box or 0.295 of a box. Boxes are whole, so integers is a whole number. So we're gonna use integers for this. So all right, we're gonna be working here in our event graph, and let's get an event going here called boxes added. So it's going to be a custom event. So I'm going to right click. And so I'm going to choose add event, add a custom event. And there it is, add custom event. Click, and let's just call it boxes underscore added. Boxes added, right there. And let's drag our boxes added out. So I'm going to click on boxes added. In fact, you can also click on this little eyeball right there to make it a public variable. So if you're like, what's a public variable? It just means that we can access it from outside of this script. And it says, please press the plus icon above to add parameters to it. And I don't see anything here. So if we compile this, then you'll see that it should let us now use boxes added. Should allow us to put information in there. So, all right, I'm going to drag boxes added out, and we're going to use a getter, boxes added. So we're going to use a getter, not a setter. So we're going to get boxes added. Oh, here it is, the default value. When I hit compile and I dragged it in here, this did not exist until I compiled it, and now it adds a default value in there. So, all right, what I'd like to do is that every time my third person player touches a box, it's going to add a box. It's going to count the boxes, and it's going to add by 1 every time it does that. Well, I need something in here that is going to add boxes for me, so I need an add. So I'm going to drag off the executable in here. What if I just type in add? So there it is. It's an operator. It's a function. We're going to add one thing. It says to go back to old math nodes. It doesn't even tell what it does. It adds. It adds this top channel with the bottom channel. So that's what it does. So I'm going to plug this into, oh, no, I'm not. What is going on? And I can plug that in there. And let's, all right, hold on a second. Let me pause you. Okay, so I see what the issue is here. So this is just an add pin, And what we'd really like to do is to increment. So we want to, I've only got one plus sign here. We need to, so we're going to get rid of this. And I can pull off either one of these. And instead of an add, I don't see the one we need. So if you put add, I don't know, increment. So I'm going to type in increment. There it is, increment. So it's under math integer, increment integer. So you can see adds 1 to the specified value, then sets it. So that's the one we need, not the add, but the increment. Then I will connect the executable up to that. And then what we'd like to do here, what we'd like to do is we want to print out to the screen the number of boxes that we're adding to our collection. So first of all, so I'm just going to type in the word print string. And just to give it a little neatness, let's type in something first, like boxes added. So boxes added, colon, space, just kind of make it nice and neat there. And then after it prints that, immediately afterward, let's do another print string for the number of boxes. So print string, string. And this one, so we don't want to, we're not typing a word or anything in here. We need it to do it procedurally for us. We need it to generate whatever the number is of number of boxes that we're collecting. It needs to print that number here. But this is a green one. That's an integer. And this is that's a string. So what we'll do is if we just connect these, it understands that, oh, you want a number in there. So convert that integer into a string, okay? So it puts this little conversion node in there for you. So it does it automatically, so you can, so you don't have to worry about it. So it converts an integer into a string, takes a number, converts it to letters, and then it's going to put that number in there. So every time we hit another box, it's going to increment it by 1, and it'll say boxes added, and it'll keep adding up the number of boxes and tell us how many. Let's compile. Hopefully it'll compile. We look good. I'm going to save it. We're not done yet. This is just our in our third person character, because when they collide with the boxes, it'll add them all up. Let's go back into our blueprint box collect here. And I see 3 events right there, but those aren't any events we're going to use. So let's use one called an on component hit. So I'm going to type on component hit. Oh, where'd it go? On component. Did I spell it right? On component hit. Let's see. You know what? Instead of that, let's go up to events. Add an event. And let's see if I can find add component, add custom, touch mouse. Maybe it's a collision. Ooh, event hit. Is that it? It's not the one I was thinking of. So let's not use that one. Maybe later. So, oh, add component. Add component. I don't understand why it didn't come up, but let's see. On component. What did I do wrong? Right. It's in here. I know it is. Add component. Here, what if I just type in the word hit? No, I want an on component hit. Well, I guess I'm going to try event hit, and we'll see what that does. It's not really what I was going for, but this could work. All right, now what I want to do is I want to cast that hit. So when the third person character hits the box, so let's pull this out. So we need to cast it to the third person character, cast to third person character. And then we have to say what object there. So it's the other object. It's not the box. So we're going to connect those two together. And then now, how do we call this? How do we call this custom event here? This box is added custom event. The way we call that is right here. When we're casting the event hit, there it is. It says when this actor bumps into a blocking object or blocks, then it's going to record it as a hit event. So all right. So anyway, so now what we're going to do is we're going to call that box is added function. So I'm just going to type in boxes added. There it is. You can see right there. Boxes added. Click. And then once again, we have to connect those two, the SVP third person character to the target. And then once it collects the box, right? This is where it collects it. It bumps into the box. It registers that it bumped it or hit it. And what do we want it to do now? I don't want the box to sit there. I'd hit it over and over and over again. So I need to destroy the box. So let's pull off of this and let's just say destroy actor. There it is. And because we are in the box blueprint, it knows, it says the target is the actor itself. Because it's a box blueprint, it's going to destroy the box itself. Okay, so right there it says self. So we don't have to tell it what to destroy. It already knows. Just destroy yourself. Okay. So anyway, so here's what it looks like. So we're going to we have an event where there's a hit that's registered with the third person character. It's going to call the boxes added function that we created over here with our third person character. And then once it's counted, it's registered, counted, it's going to destroy it. In between, it's going to throw up a word on the screen that says boxes added, and it's going to give us the number of boxes that we have. All right, this one's compiled. Let's compile this one. Everything looks good. Pull that over so you can see it. Everything there looks good. I'm also going to save it, and let's go into here and see what we can have here. So we've got our physics stuff right there. Let's go back to our boxes. So I'm going to go back to content. There's my BP box collectible or collect. I'm just going to drag some of these out. I'm going to raise them up a little bit so my player can interact with them. I made them kind of small, but that's okay. So I'm just going to throw a bunch of these out here all over. And you know what? Maybe I could even drag a couple up here on top. Right up there, I'll collect them all over the place. Right up there, drag some more. Right up there, that looks good. Drag them. There. Okay, so how many do I have? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 9 total. Let's see if I can collect them. All right, there it is. Ooh, let me drag that down so you can see a little bit better. There they are. So there's one. It says, notice in the upper left there, 1 box added, 2 boxes added, 3, 4 boxes added. Can I jump up here? I don't even know. Oh, that's how I do it. Let's get that close. That's a little bit of a ladder for me. And let's see, 5 boxes added, 6 boxes added. Can I jump? Ah, crud. All right, we're going to go up here and go over here. I got a couple. All right, hold on. 7, 8, and 9 boxes added. All right, and that is the end. Oh, and then my thing went way up there. In fact, you can't even see it anymore. My rocket ship thruster thing went up there. So this is still kind of fun and cool to watch that. So anyway, that's how you put collectibles and set it up. And that's how you make some physics things and have fun with that. So anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned it. And I'm looking forward to seeing some fun things that you do in your games with it. Thank you very much for watching this. And I'll see you next time.